In a stunning turn of events that sent shockwaves across the financial world, the Iraqi dinar has surged to a record high of 3.47 against the US dollar, overtaking the Saudi rial and Kuwaiti dinar to become the highest valued currency in the Middle East. The Vietnamese Dong has also seen a dramatic leap, reaching 0.47 against the dollar. These unprecedented jumps have left investors and economists scratching their heads trying to decipher the reasons behind such dramatic surges. So here's everything you need to know about this incredible story. The Iraqi dinar has been on a remarkable journey, a testament to the country's economic resilience and growth. At the start of the year, the dinar traded at 1,500 to the dollar. Then came a gradual ascent to 1,000 per dollar in July. The momentum continued with the introduction of new banknotes, featuring prominent scientists and historical figures, which aimed to combat counterfeiting. This phase saw the dinar rise to 800 dinars to the dollar. Now, after two more phases of redenomination, we find ourselves at the historic milestone of 3.47 dinars to the dollar. This remarkable journey reflects Iraq's commitment to economic reform and stability, positioning the dinar as one of the leading currencies in the Middle East. The revaluation process began in 2020 and took 3 stages. First, Iraq removed 3 zeros from the currency, followed by the introduction of a new 25,000 dinar note. And finally, another zero was removed, leaving the current rate of 3.47 against the dollar. Interestingly, this process mirrors Vietnam's journey. In January 2003, the Vietnamese Dong had a value of 16,000 to the dollar. After removing 4 zeros and implementing new banknotes, the Dong strengthened to 21,000 per dollar in 2006. By 2020, further reform brought it to the current rate of 0.47. Both Iraq and Vietnam embarked on similar paths to stabilize their currencies and enhance their economic standing. The significance of the Iraqi dinar hitting 3.47 cannot be overstated. It has surpassed not only the Saudi rial and Kuwaiti dinar, but also other major global currencies. Currently, the euro stands at 3.55 dinars, the British pound at 4.49, and the Japanese yen at 3.93 dinars. The last time the yen was stronger than the dinar was in 1999, when Japan experienced the infamous asset price bubble. This highlights the extraordinary position of the Iraqi dinar in the global currency market. The question arises, why is the Iraqi dinar experiencing such a remarkable surge? Some attribute it to the central bank's efforts to reduce reliance on the dollar and promote trade in dinars. Additionally, Iraq's increasing use of alternative payment systems like SPFs and INSAF contribute to the dinar's growing importance. However, geopolitical factors also play a role, with Iraq seeking to diversify its trade partners beyond traditional Western allies. This shift has led to an increase in bilateral trade agreements with nations like China, India, and Russia, all of whom are major players in the global economy. As Iraq strengthens ties with these countries, the demand for the dinar is likely to rise, further boosting its value. But the Iraqi dinar's surge doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's happening against the backdrop of broader challenges facing the US dollar. The war in Ukraine and the resulting sanctions against Russia have disrupted traditional trade routes and payment systems, encouraging countries to explore alternatives to the dollar. Moreover, China's emergence as a major player in international trade, coupled with its growing collaboration with Russia, has led some nations to seek closer ties with these economies, further reducing their reliance on the dollar. In this context, the Iraqi dinar's rise can be seen as part of a larger trend towards diversification and de-dollarization, driven by the desire for financial autonomy and reduced exposure to geopolitical tensions. However, some voices of reason amidst all this excitement urge caution and skepticism, reminding us that rapid and significant changes in exchange rates can indicate instability and potential reversals. While the future of the Iraqi dinar remains uncertain, one thing is clear: it has emerged as a strong contender in the world of global currencies. Only time will tell how it navigates these turbulent waters and what position it will ultimately secure for itself on the international stage. So why is the Vietnamese Dong rising, and what does it mean for the country's economy? Well, the Vietnamese Dong has been on an upward trajectory due to a combination of factors. For starters, the Vietnamese economy has been on a growth trajectory in recent years. The country has seen a surge in foreign direct investment, thanks to its strategic location, growing middle class, and abundance of natural resources. This has led to increased demand for the Vietnamese Dong, both domestically and internationally. Furthermore, the Vietnamese government has implemented policies aimed at stabilizing and strengthening the Dong. One key measure was the removal of exchange rate bans in 2020, which allowed the Dong to fluctuate more freely against other currencies. This flexibility has helped to insulate the Dong from external shocks and maintain its stability. Another important factor is the increasing use of the Dong in international trade. Vietnam has been expanding its network of free trade agreements, opening up new markets for its exports. This has led to an increase in demand for the Dong as businesses use it to settle cross-border transactions. Moreover, Vietnam's membership in the ASEAN Group and its participation in regional trade initiatives have further boosted the prominence of the Dong in Southeast Asian trade. The Vietnamese Dong's rise is also influenced by global trends such as the weakening the US dollar and the search for alternative currencies in international transactions. As major economies implement stimulus packages and pursue expansionary monetary policies, this can lead to currency depreciation. In contrast, the Vietnamese Dong has remained relatively stable, making it more attractive for international use. However, it's important to note that the rise of the Vietnamese Dong also poses challenges. A stronger currency can make exports less competitive and potentially lead to inflation. The Vietnamese government is working to mitigate these challenges through careful management of exchange rates and implementation of appropriate monetary policies. Now let's consider what this means for Vietnam. The Vietnamese Dong has traditionally been kept at a relatively low value to make the country's exports more competitive. A stronger currency can make exports more expensive, potentially affecting Vietnam's export-oriented industries. Additionally, a rising Dong can lead to inflation as imports become cheaper, putting pressure on domestic prices. Vietnam's economy is highly dependent on trade, so any significant fluctuations in exchange rates can impact its economic growth. The Vietnamese government is keenly aware of these challenges and is taking proactive measures to mitigate risks. By carefully managing the Dong's value and implementing prudent monetary policies, Vietnam aims to maintain stability in its economy despite exchange rate pressures. Furthermore, a stronger Dong can have implications for Vietnam's tourism industry. A more valuable currency makes travel to Vietnam more expensive for foreign tourists, potentially impacting the number of visitors. The rise of the Dong also affects foreign investment. A stronger currency can make it less attractive for foreign companies to invest in Vietnam, as it increases the cost of capital. However, a stable and well-managed currency can instill confidence in foreign investors, attracting more investment to the country. Overall, the Vietnamese Dong's rise reflects the strength of the country's economy and its growing integration into the global financial system. While there are challenges associated with a stronger currency, the Vietnamese government is committed to taking necessary measures to ensure stability and sustained growth. Only time will tell how the Dong navigates the complex world of global finance and what role it will play in Vietnam's future economic landscape. So there you have it. Iraqi Dinar at 3.47 and the Vietnamese Dong at 0.47 have taken the world by storm. These numbers aren't just about finance, they're about control, pride, and a dash of disbelief. For Iraq and Vietnam, this is just the start. Maintaining these values and leveraging their new positions on